On today's show, we wind the clock back to 2007 and look at more highlights from the 2007-08 World Series Sprintcars season. We look back on Round 4 from Speedway City in South Australia, Round 5 from Archerfield Speedway in Queensland, and Round 6 from Sydney Speedway in New South Wales. Then we wind a little further back to 2006 and head to Sydney Motorsport Park, where we look back on the final round of the Australian Superbike Championship. We feature both races from the Superbike and Supersport categories. This is Speedweek.
Welcome back to Oneless World Series Sprintcars. Round 4 about to come your way from Speedway City in South Australia.
Ricky Maiolo is a contender for the Redline Oil's George Tatnall Rookie of the Year award. And with a string of A-main appearances, the boy from Adelaide is certainly in with a shot.
Feeling pretty good. We run the first 3 rounds up there in Perth. We finished the whole 3 nights unscathed, and we learned a fair bit. We were happy to qualify for the A-main because there's a lot of crashing and bashing going on, so we were quite impressed.
Ricky is contesting this year's Oneless World Series Sprint Car Championship in a well-presented piece of machinery.
Well, we started with a brand new Eagle chassis. My uncle from the Octane Leisure, he builds the engines. Other than that, it's family, or a family gets together, puts it together, and we go racing. No matter where you travel, we're still learning, so wherever we go, it's pretty good competition. So yeah, so far so good.
You may notice, folks, the drivers wearing earplugs when they come in from their various races. They're not listening to their favourite tunes on iPod or anything like this. They're actually utilising this elite receiver device, which gives the stewards an opportunity to communicate with them whilst they're out there on the racetrack. They can change the order on restarts, they can warn them about a potential hazard up ahead. It really is a great device and should speed up the whole show. West Aussie Alan Nash and his better half have made the short trip across the Nullarbor for a holiday of sorts. Much needed after a disappointing previous round.
Well, we've been wanting to go away travelling, and business is going pretty good, so we just thought we'd take the opportunity and turn left instead of right at Cal. The first couple of rounds there at Kwinana, we were okay. We struggled a little bit with the horsepower hooking up on Kwinana, like when it was slick, even though it's our home track, but it's never been that bad, and that was the first meeting that we had. We got rained out, so we couldn't really do much.
Nash is keen to have a crack at the top name drivers competing here at Adelaide Speedway City, but will be trying to stay out of trouble as he's using the round as a test run for a possible all-out assault next season.
We still like race to finish all the time, and if someone's a bit desperate, we might give them a bit of room and let them go, and 9 out of 10 times they'll crash themselves out and we pass them again while they're on the hook. It's good to go away and race with these guys. Ultimately, I want to be able to do the whole series myself, possibly next year, and we're just stepping out of our, putting our toe in the water, so to speak.
It's a scorcher of a day in Adelaide as drivers prepare to qualify for round 4. Owen Pitt, a local, delights his crew by posting 8th fastest time in some very celebrated company. 7th quick time, American Jason Johnson in the Superlock Jim Beam number 5. In qualifying, Johnson always at or near the top. Robbie Farr is 6th, driving the Nick Speed prepared East Coast Pipeline number 7. David Murcock puts in a solid performance in the mainline Dynalog JEA 77, despite the track becoming slick in these oppressive conditions. The Maxwell number 3 is piloted by veteran South Aussie Phil March, who has an uncharacteristic spin. March, a former national champion. Brooke Tatnall leads this 21st Oneless World Series and has no intention of losing that advantage. Brooke wants to win the series for the 6th time. A surprise package is Leith Alfors, a former motocross champ who claims the 3rd fastest spot. 2nd quick time goes to the 47-year-old 7-time and defending Oneless World Series champ Max Dumsney in the Valvoline number 5. But taking a bow this afternoon is Stephen Lyons in the Camden Neon Signs number 45. The South Aussie peddler records the fastest lap It's a time of 13.113 seconds. So that's qualifying done and dusted. 35 cars. Steve Lyons, number 1.
We're sitting inside the Saxon Engineering race car of Jamie Cobby, former Australian champion. Thought we'd have a bit of a look at the cockpit of these 850 horsepower plus beasts, and just what the driver's got to look at and go through during the course of an event out on the track. Of course, first and foremost, I guess the steering wheel. We had that off a few moments ago, obviously, so we could actually get into the race car. There's not a lot of room. It's fairly cramped here inside the cockpit. Of course, we've got an oil pressure gauge here, generally utilised. We need to get that pressure up to somewhere around 50, 60 on the gauge here before we can actually fire it up. The ignition switch over here. There's an oil warning light over here. If the oil pressure starts to get a little low, this light will come on to give the driver some sort of warning so that he knows there is a potential problem and he may need to shut the car down in a hurry to save burning up a power plant. Obviously, we've got a tacho here. If you look down here, see the little hoop, and the drive line basically runs right between the legs of these drivers. We also have a hydraulic wing slider mechanism here, which actually feeds off the power steering. They've got to actually be mobile so they can actually slide the top wing back and forth. Naturally, we've got the brake pedal down here for the drivers, and the accelerator, which is actually more of a stirrup to allow the drivers to have ultimate feel so they can try and govern that seat of the pants and fine line between having these cars right and having them very untidy and becoming a mobile chicane out on the racetrack.
Time now to check out our heat race, qualifying and dash highlights, as well as the C and the B main, as we watch Danny Reedy in the Queensland Speedway Spares entry look to the high side of the speedway as he cuts a pass on Brian Mann. There's a bit of a flash oil fire from Robbie Farr in the Q7. Oh, coming together here between Brian Mann and Jason Loveday. Gee, that was a bit messy, Steve.
Yep, there goes the 16 car, the Calabar Wreckers car, and it does need a wrecker at the moment.
This time we've got Philip March riding the right rear of Alan Nash and writing off the cool chassis. Ex-Formula 500 national champion Jason Loveday was victorious in tonight's C main. In the B, it was Grant Anderson who took the win. Jamie Cobby and Brett Lacey coming together, exiting 2, but it's all Grant Anderson as he transfers through to the A.
Round 4, the 4-wide salute, always enjoyed by Speedway followers. This is Speedway City, heart of the South Australian landscape since 1979. All the heavy hitters are up the front as we get set for the 30-lapper. Brooke Tatnell heads out. That's Robert Farr running in second place, and tonight Max Stumsney's also on the pace.
Brooke Tatnell and the team really have brought their A game to Adelaide Speedway City tonight. And check this out for a pass. Big Al Haynes in the North Queensland 47 for Haynes Labour Hire. Cuts a move on Lindsay as Max has a look on the inside of Trevor Green. Trev, of course, from Two Wells in South Australia, the Adrad Radiator Speedster, knows this track intimately.
Brooke Tatnell battling lap traffic. Robbie Farr closing in the East Coast Pipeline, number 7.
You know, Steve, sometimes the likes of Donny Schatz and co, they say sometimes it's better to be running second in lap traffic. And Brooke now comes up behind Peter Lack. Everybody getting around this track quite quickly, but he manages to get underneath him. A good move, and Robbie Farr follows suit.
This is a different Tatnell to the one we saw in Kalgoorlie, sitting back, track conditions playing into his hands, and the number 1 car is responding beautifully tonight.
The Sans Souci Speedster, Brooke Tatnell, appears to have this one under control. Robbie Farr sitting about 3, maybe 4 car lengths back. And they're coming up now to put a lap on South Australian Jamie Cobby.
And what a nice gesture as he passes your brother. A nice gesture earlier this evening when they dedicated a grandstand to Brooke's father George and his contribution to Speedway with the entire family, including wife Val there.
Yeah, they're all there supporting and cheering Brooke on tonight, but Robbie Farr, he wants to spoil the party here. Look at him carrying the front wheels off the deck. Here's J&J really motoring forward.
Yep, no sentimentality allowed until the checkered flag is dropped.
Yeah, that's dead right. Tatnell there in the 1, Farr right on his rear nerve bar. The rest of the field duking it out. Oh, what's happened here for the Mount Gambier youngster, Steve Lyons? For Camden Neon Signs, his car has given up the ghost.
Away we go, the final stanza of round number 4. Tatnell won the opening round. Kerry Madsen the second, Queenslander Peter Lack third. Who will be first to the checkered flag in Speedway City, South Australia?
Our leader now coming up behind the back of Luke Dillon in the Hog's Breath Cafe, 7TF Global 75 machine. Brooke working him over, but this is the thing as you come up behind lap cars. Many of these guys all going fairly quick in their own right, but the Valvoline Speedster appears to have it under control. In fact, there's the checkered flags. Brooke Tatnell for Cricky Motorsport has taken out his second win of this championship. Robbie Farr finished second. Max Dumsney managed to put an outside move on Trevor Green and grab third.
Thought I'll keep at it and see if I can get around Robbie, but just didn't have enough laps, and it was good fun trying anyway.
Yeah, we sort of Brooke got the start, got the jump on us, and after that we're just sort of trying to waver in to make a mistake, but Brooke don't make a lot of mistakes, so that makes it hard. But you know, we're reasonably happy with the night. We pulled a second out of the night, so we'll just move on to the next one next week in Brisbane and see what happens, see if we can get one better.
Yeah, we had a good night. I mean, I can't say enough about the guys on the Toyota Genuine Parts car. I mean, they've been awesome. We threw away a race last week, and you know, they stuck by me. They didn't bag me. They just said, hey, we'll get another one. So to win here at Adelaide, Adelaide's always been special to us. Wendy's been great to us with all her promotions, and to see the Joyce Tatnell grandstands, pretty awesome. Just an awesome night. Mum and Uncle Joe was here with my wife, and it's my little girl's birthday on Monday, so this is a perfect start to a perfect second year of fatherhood.
The points after round 4 look like this. Brooke Tatnell, 2 wins, he's the leader. Robbie Farr, David Murcott, Max Dumsney, Danny Reedy are the top 5. But this night belongs to the Tatnell clan.
Welcome to round 5 of World Series Sprint Cars, proudly brought to you by Wanderless Waste Corp. We've had a fair bit of rain here at Brisbane International Speedway in the last 24 hours, and that's going to make for a hooked up bull ring here tonight. We're just about ready for these guys to stomp on the throttle. Let's go racing!
It was a steep learning curve for the young Queenslander David Blingy Muir last year as he went out on the road with the Wild Boys of Wanderless World Series Sprint Cars.
This season, just picking and choosing racing this year. Haven't done too many this year like we've done Toowoomba and whatnot, but been working more than racing, so yeah.
After coming off second best a few times last year, Muir has decided to settle down a little bit, having learned his lesson from pushing too hard too early.
Biggest thing is patience and not to expect too much of yourself, which I sort of did, and you know, just have fun.
While quietly backing himself for the A-Main win tonight, Muir has his eyes on some of the older drivers who have shown plenty of speed early on.
Well, you got Brazier down here doing a few shows in that John Wetherell car. Like, he's been pretty dominant. Gessner's been pretty strong. So yeah, just everyone's going well.
Former Kalgoorlie Wanderless World Series Sprint Car round winner Andrew Shirley. He's a local and he's got a brand new Ausdeck machine, all fired up for a big crack at round 5 glory.
Sort of kind of slowly wind ourselves into going away on the road a little bit more this year, and then hopefully next year we're going to go on World Series full time. So this year it's sort of just the new team finding its teeth and just working together well, and once we get that all happening, then we'll be ready for the road.
The Ausdeck car is bristling with the best gear around and is sure to put on one heck of a show.
Yeah, we got a brand new KRE Kenny Mack race engine and under the bonnet. We've done about 3 races with it at the moment, and we've got a Kistler 410 in the truck. And we got a 372 motor as well, so a Maxwell motor. So we got the motor side of it covered and the race car side of it covered. We're just trying to get everyone working well together crew-wise, and once we achieve that, the result should come along. It's just taking time to make the race team gel and get this is a new race car that I'm not quite used to. We're trying to sort out, and every time we hit the track, we get better and better. So as far as I'm concerned, it's been a pretty good start. It's nice to have the Max Dumsneys and the Robbie Farrs and everyone back to run against. So yeah, so hopefully we can step it up a bit tonight and compete with them.
Adrian Ferguson won the highly coveted Crew Chief of the Year award last season, and of course the prize was a trip over to the United States thanks to Reeve Kruk from Titan Racing. Just desserts for a job well done.
Yeah, it was what they call the month of money. Like it was Eldora, Knoxville, 3 nights at Williams Grove. It was actually, we had one rain out night and we had 5 nights straight. So it was good. It was a very good learning curve, and you're very busy.
Ferg is hoping to continue the rich run of form, but the Superlock team and driver Jason Johnson haven't started particularly well.
We haven't had a very good year to start with, and a few motor problems, but yeah, the car's been quick. Jason's been on the ball, and yeah, it's good to work with another American and just use that experience I got from last year here as well as in the States, and then hopefully we can turn it around tonight.
A crew chief's primary role is to get the very most out of the race car by adjusting the setup to suit the track conditions. Quite difficult when you consider that it can change from lap to lap.
It's a lot of pressure. Like, it's one of those things that we all try and get right, and the guys that race these tracks all year round and get that better than what we do. And Jason coming from a bigger track and in the States and trying to work out how to run around a smaller track, that's the hardest thing we've got to get through to each other. And Jason's got an idea how to go around, and we've got an idea how it should go around, and sometimes we don't meet the middle, but other times we will.
CompCam's qualifying is set to fire into life at a rather wet Brisbane International Speedway. 3 times Australia 1 Brooke Tatnall timed in 8th fastest in the Toyota Genuine Parts Cool Chassis. Brooke's old sparring partner, 4 times Aussie 1 Gary Brazier, chimed in with 7th quick time in the Motorguard Maxim. Mr Valvoline Max Dumsney piloted his mouse green prepared Maxim to 6th. Local posse standout Cam Gessner snared an impressive 5th in the Energy Motorsport Cheetah. Current Queensland champion Andrew Shirley drove his Ausdeck Maxim into 4th. East Coast Pipelines pilot Robbie Farr grabbed 3rd with an 11.486 second run. The rock star Danny Reedy, now residing in Surfers Paradise, qualified his Eagle into 2nd. Adrad Radiator speedster Trevor Green from Two Wells SA hammered home CompCam's quick time with 11.45 seconds, averaging just over 138 kilometres per hour. Coming up after the break, more action from Wanless World Series Sprintcars at Brisbane International Speedway. One of the people determined to make an impact in Queensland more than most is 7-time champion Max Dumsney. A perennial title contender over the course of his amazing career, Dumsney has not had the season he would like, and the return to one of his favourite tracks could reignite his chances of crown number 8.
We go pretty good here most of the time. I'm not sure what the track's going to be like tonight because it's totally different. It's got a lot of water in it, and I think it'll be very hooky if we get to race. Like, we're getting sprinkle on right now, which is not good, but if it's only a sun shower, I hope it'll go away and we'll get going.
Now, mate, last weekend you seemed to miss the setup just a fraction for the feature. Is that how it felt for you in the cockpit?
The feature, I felt pretty good. The feature, like, started at 4 and got to 3rd, and I was up on Robbie. I was pretty happy with it.
Max, you've raced for so many years, as we know. It's obviously a huge adrenaline rush for you that keeps bringing you back year after year.
Without a doubt, like, sprint car racing is the ultimate form of motorsport, I believe, and if I didn't believe that, I wouldn't be still there, would I? But no, power to weight ratio, sprint cars are awesome and fantastic fun.
Former series champion Gary Brazier is one of the forerunners in the World Series Sprintcars field. Already with a swagger strong performances under his belt this season, off the track Brazier has formed a great relationship with John and Vicky Weatherall. Their joint aim to get more sprint cars racing regularly in Brisbane.
I've got a pretty good deal going so far with John and Vicky Weatherall. They've invited me up to Queensland, pretty much weekly to help John Kelly out, to get some more cars up here racing at Brisbane. But it's not been too bad so far this season. We've had a few wins and just enjoying it.
You could be one of the almost locals that the World Series boys are really watching out for here tonight. 5 wins on the board so far, almost the winningest driver in Australia to this point. Can you carry it on tonight?
Oh, we definitely always got a shot at winning, It doesn't really matter what track we go to. I still feel we've got a good chance of winning the race. It's great to be racing Brooke and Max and Robbie, all the top guys. It's definitely going to be tough out here. Archerfield's a very hard racetrack to get around, and you've got to be on your A game to be able to come over with victory.
Does the disappointment of a couple of years ago in the Australian title here still burn in your mind?
I've had a fair few of those disappointing Australian titles, but you know, it definitely does. You know, all races that are big that you miss out on always hurt, but you always got to look forward to the future. And you know, we've got a good race coming up, Parramatta, or Tyre Power Parramatta City Raceway for the Australian title, and I'm really looking forward to that this year.
When World Series Sprint Cars come to town, it's always a chance for the local racers to lock horns with the sport's elite. Todd Wanless is just one of many looking to take the big boys down a few pegs and make a name for himself on home turf.
I mean, it's always great when these guys come to town. Well, I think all of us Queensland, we all move up a notch, and it's a good yardstick for us.
How would you rate your season thus far, mate?
Oh, well, we've been fast enough. It's just... yeah, we just come up a bit short in a couple of races, and yeah, we're getting there. We're just starting to sharpen up. We're probably coming good at the right end of the year.
No, we've noticed the local posse of the various cities we've been to so far have been pretty strong, capable of making dashes and running top 5, top 10. Would you expect similar tonight from your mates here?
Yeah, there's about 5 decent drivers, and like I think we can probably count Brazier as a Queenslander this year anyway. But there's about 5 really good contenders. And you know, I believe there's probably 5 guys on the road that's going to be pretty tough to beat too. So yeah, if anyone can run in the top 5 tonight, well, they've done a decent job.
Time now to take a look at highlights from our heats Dash C and B main before we load up our field for tonight's A main. Welcome back, everybody, to the 5th round for Wanless World Series Sprint Cars. We're ready to rumble here at Brisbane International Speedway. The skies have been threatening a little bit. We're hoping the rain holds off, and here is your grid. Todd Wanless is your pole sitter. Alongside him, it's Max Dumsney. Shirley and Reedy have both qualified well. Watch for Gary Brazier and Jason Johnson out of 9 and 10 respectively.
It's good to see the 40-year-old former national champion Todd Wanless on pole position and getting the jump as they go to turn number 1. His teammate Peter Thorley goes to the outside, also gets off to a flying start.
The track is very hooked up here tonight. We've had a fair bit of rain in the lead up to this event, Steve. There's Brazier on the prowl already. Dan Morton in the 78, Brad Hilda, and now we're looking over the left rear of David Murcott's Power Motorsports machine. You see Jason Johnson now attacking him, and Brooke Tatnall battling with Cam Gessner and Peter Thorley in contact. Between Thorley and Gessner, and even more contact right here. Looks as though Robbie Farr could be out of commission.
And Jason Johnson's car doesn't look too flash. Yep, 7's in trouble. Jason Johnson in the wars there.
We see on the replay Richard Morgan and Jason Johnson got together. Farry was on the gas straight in the back of it, but we're back now to green light conditions as Max Dumsney harasses former national champion Todd Wanless. He draws up the inside of him. Can he make the pass stick? I think he will, as he gasses it off turn number 4, and he has got him.
In Speedway City, South Australia, in the last round, Dumsney came home 3rd. Tatnall took the win. We have a spin.
Alan Haynes has looped his North Queensland 47 Maxim. You see him there, just getting a little bit loose. He spun the car, and because he's in a very precarious position, our stewards had to bring out the cautions. So they go at it again here. Wanless out in front, but Max Dumsney on the prowl. Murcott now tries a pass on Tatnall, but couldn't get it done.
You can see Tatnall giving it his best shot. This is round number 5. Tatnall's the only one to pick up 2 wins. That was in Adelaide, and the other one was the first round in Perth.
Max Dumsney has had a little bit of a slow start to this season, but if he could at all capture a win here tonight at BIS, it'd put him right back in championship contention. Morton going well in this one in the 78. Murky and Tatnall continue their fight, although I must say Murky just looked to be a little tight, the car pushing.
Watching the action coming from the 400 metre Brisbane International Speedway. It's been part of the landscape in Queensland since 1978.
There's Gary Brazier. Look at him going to the outside of Trevor Green. Slots around there, picks up that position. Now he's going after Cameron Gessner. And there's a little bit of ill feeling, I believe, between these two pilots as they work their way around this circuit. Braze now, the 4 times former national champ, trying to work the top. The big fella, Cam Gessner, running around on the bottom side of the speedway. Oh, someone's at a half lose. That's Reedy, the rock star. But fortuitously, the caution lights are flashing, so he'll be able to recover. I think we're back under green conditions now with David Murcott in the Par Motorsports entry just ahead of him. What an absorbing battle between Jason Johnson and Brooks Hatnell. Gee, those two certainly know each other's driving styles pretty well.
A big crowd on hand at Brisbane tonight to watch this enthralling battle. There's the race leader, 47-year-old father of 4, 25 years driving sprint cars 7 times, and the defending one-less World Series champion, and his name is Max Dumsney, the man behind Hoosier Tyres in Australia, and always driving for Valvoline. We have a spin on the top turn.
Craig Stevenson in the Queensland 10 entry for Ace Fireworks has spun the car. Just watching it here on the replays, trying to keep it going. Didn't quite light up the right rear enough and just nudged it into the concrete.
Getting set for the restart. Todd Wanler still sitting in second place in the 61 car as we go through the top turn. And Todd Wanler's driving the self-serve auto parts car. 8 main event wins in the past 5 seasons. Hungry for another one tonight.
Oh, magnificent stuff. This scrap is just got a little bit hotter. Danny Reedy, Gary Brazier and Cameron Gessner going at it. Hammer and tongs. Oh, Johnson and Thorley have had a big coming together. I think Jason Johnson may have attempted an inside move. Let's watch it on the replay. Oh, yes, he has. The right rear's got up over the front of Thorley's 51 entry, and he will be out of this event.
The Superlock car fails to complete the journey tonight. He's not having a good run. He was second to Max Dumsney in the last series of Wanler's World Series, and he was also second to this man, Max Dumsney, back in 2003-2004.
So the running order on this restart, it's Max Dumsney from Todd Wanless, Andrew Shirley in the Ozdeck patios and roofing entry third. Gary Brazier's made another move. He's gone for the jugular, but here comes Cam Gessner. The front wing sitting down a little bit. Looks as though some of the struts are broken there. Tatnell battling. Nowhere near the sharp end of the pack where we're accustomed to him being. And this dice continues for the miners. It's unbelievable stuff.
It's been a happy hunting ground, the Brisbane International Speedway, for Brooke Tatnell, Gary Brazier, and also for Max Dumsney. But how will it work out tonight in this important round of Wander's World Series?
Tatnell working Murcott over. As you mentioned, Steve, Brooke has got 12 World Series wins to his credit around this venue. Oh, Stevenson smacked the concrete. And now he'll be doing it extremely tough to restart from here. He's definitely out. I wonder whether his right rear is already flat before he went in there.
He's having a bad night, that's for sure. We're ready to go once more. Wanless is not letting the tail tank of that Valvoline number 5 get out of sight.
No, he's not. He's trying to apply the pressure. But unfortunately, I think tonight, Mouse Green has given Max Dumsney a beautiful race car. The Maxwell motor is performing admirably around this hook duck ball ring. But look at this. Shirley up the inside of Brazier says, "Cop that, son. I'm having third spot." Oh, Brazier's bumped the concrete. Action aplenty at BIS.
Your leader is Max Dumsney in the Valvoline 5 car. Running hard in second is still Todd Wanless in 61, and in third place is the 33-year-old Andrew Shirley, who knows this place like the back of his hand. 16 wins guarantees that.
Yes, Shirley, the current Queensland State Sprint Car champion, really knows his way around this circuit beautifully. And again, the local posse up here in Brisbane standing tall, with the exception of Max Dumsney, who has turned plenty of laps around this venue himself. There's Shirley in the beautifully turned out blue and green Ozdeck patios and roofing entry. Oh, Gary Brazier pulls off a wheel stand down the back. Danny Reedy has still got him well within his sights at the moment, and Cam Gessner certainly not out of it either.
Just about to mention that Cameron Gessner's making good progress through the field. Brazier hasn't given up the chase. Reedy's now coming on strong as we get to the pointy end of this race, and Andrew Shirley chases out after the 2 front runners.
Interestingly, Brooke Tatnall with the new Maxwell engine in tonight, nowhere near as competitive as we would have expected him to be. Have a look at him there on the prowl, trying to cut a pass on David Murcott as they head around this circuit, but to no avail at the moment. He continues to attack Murcott, who is now going after Trevor Green as well. The Lewis Green speedster just ahead of him, an absorbing fight this one.
Considering track conditions, John, they're performing really well, getting a lot of grip, and this has been an enthralling race.
It really has, as we watch once again Tatnall looking on the inside. This time I think he might get it done as he steamrolls up the inside and cuts the pass. But we're back now to Mr. Valvoline, Max Dumsney, the man that is so popular. He's had a spectator mound named after him back at his beloved Warrnambool SunGold Stadium. They call it Mount Max.
Well, he's also disappointed with his own performance so far, 2/3 in the rounds we've had, and he wants to make a winner here tonight and get some big points.
He certainly does. 150 points up for grabs for a win, and he's now gapped Todd Wanless to the tune of about one straight length. He really is going well there. Shirley, Brazier, oh, somebody off on the infield there. We'll pick up who it was in a few moments. I think it was Gessner in the 26 entry. So Big Cam will want to get on it here, or he risks being put a lap down. Max Dumsney now honing in on his first victory of this championship. Oh, David Murcott spun right in front of him. Max has nowhere to go, climbed up over his front end. Gee, I hope he hasn't cut a tyre down. Those front wing panels can be pretty sharp as they come around now for a restart. Oh, it looks as though he might have done just that. His right rear, look at it, it is flat. They're all clamouring all over his rear nerve. Wanless hits the front. Reedy's into second. Shirley tries to dive bomb Reedy. It's all happening here. Brazier's in the mix. On the final lap now, the white flag's out. Wanless is in front. Shirley now behind him. Braze and Reedy continue to go at it, and the flag's about to drop.
And Max Dumsney is no longer in the top 6.
Oh, absolute tragedy for Mr. Valvoline as Wanless wins it. Shirley second, Reedy in for third. Fourth spot, we'll find out in a few moments whether it was Brazier or Gessner, and the hard luck story has got to be with this man right here.
Brazier did get home in 4th place. Here's the officials. Todd Wanless, Andrew Shirley, Danny Reedy, Brazier, Gessner. Then came Green, Tatnall and Dumsney in 8th place. What a disappointment.
I come here tonight just hoping to get a top 5, and we probably should have been a top 2. But, hey, I'll take it. Max has won plenty like that, so I'll take this one.
Yeah, it got pretty intense there in the last few laps. Brazier got around the top of us on that restart, and Danny went underneath us, and somehow, I don't know what happened, but I split back both between them, and we come out in front coming down in there at 3.
Yeah, it was pretty close there. It was mayhem, actually. There was cars going everywhere, and when Max got that flat, it was even more chaos. It was sort of luck of the draw, but hey, we come out with a 3rd. I'm more than happy. You know, we didn't have the best car in the feature, but we're here. We're on 4 wheels.
Oh, a little disappointed. Like, we really needed to win, and Brooke was having not such a good night, so it would have really made the points a lot more interesting, and we just definitely didn't need a DNF.
So after round 5 of 14, Brooke Tatnall still heads the parade. Victorian David Murcott in 2nd, Max is there in 3rd, Danny Reedy in 4th, Robbie Farr 5th and Trevor Green 6th. We'll pause for a moment or two and then meet up with you at Tyre Power, Parramatta City Raceway.
Here we are at Tyre Power, Parramatta City Raceway for the running of round 6 of Wanless World Series Sprintcars. 61 cars in the pits here tonight. The track itself is 460 metres, it's clay, and it's rather unique because there's no concrete fence right around the outside perimeter of the surface. There's a trotting track there, then the fence. So you'll see some wild action here tonight with some cars swinging wide, others staying on the racetrack itself. It's going to be hot. It's sprint cars at their very best.
The teams are ready to go racing at Tyre Power Parramatta City Raceway for round 6 of Wanless World Series Sprint Cars. Round 5 was a classic battle with Todd Wanless grabbing his second World Series Sprint Car A-Main victory. Danny Reedy drove a beautiful race, earning his first ever podium finish in World Series competition.
Yeah, look, I mean, it was good to finish on the podium. It was fair battle there last week just to make the podium. It was pretty interesting for second, third, fourth there. But look, we come off with the goods in the end. Didn't really matter if I finished third, fourth, or fifth. You know, the race between us was what made it a good race. You know, but it's always good to have a race like that. We didn't have the best car for the feature. We managed to salvage something out of nothing, which was good. We definitely needed the points, and it's going to help us out going into tonight if we get tonight in.
Whilst Reedy gained some much-needed points in Brisbane, series leader Brooke Tatnall has returned to his old stomping ground, keen to make amends for his undesirable finish in round 5.
We went to Brisbane with a brand new motor. It's a motor we basically have got built for places like here, Warrnambool. We had planned to run it in Adelaide, but there was a problem with getting it ready in time. So we put it in last weekend, and unfortunately we had throttle problems. The throttle was either sticking wide open or wide closed, and basically falls down to a $15 bearing manufacturing part that was a malfunction. So, I mean, we struggled with it, trying to make it better all night, and it, as I say, it's just jammed open. And Archerfield's not a place where you can run like that. So, I mean, we got very, very lucky that, you know, some guys had some bad luck. Otherwise, you know, we'd be sitting probably back in third place in the championship right now. This is, I've said all along, this is going to be a critical round because of, you probably are going to see one of the, you know, World Series guys that are running for the championship. Someone's going to have a misfortune. When you've got 60 cars to qualify, luck of the draw is always going to take a major part in this thing. So, you know, you've got to be on top of your game. But even if you draw bad and you qualify average, you know, you can still race your way through the field and get here. And this is one place that you can race your bum off and make amends for a bad night.
In an A-Main riddled with incidents, Tatnall wasn't the only front runner to have a forgettable round at the tight and tricky Brisbane circuit.
Yeah, we're going to try. I mean, we had good core speed. We got the core finally freed up there where I felt pretty comfortable last week. And, yeah, it's not one of my most favorite tracks of getting around. You know, I tend to have a lot of bad luck at Brisbane. And, unfortunately, you know, we got tangled up, but I felt like we had a good effort of going forward in the future there. And I'm really proud of the race team.
Sort of got everyone else's drama there last week and ended up on the tow truck most of the night. So, yeah, mate, just need to try and put that behind us and move on. It's, you know, it's a long series and yeah, definitely takes a, you know, hitting the points, but yeah, each race, we just take each race as it comes, and you know, this is our old stomping ground, so yeah, it's definitely going to be a tough night. A lot of good competition, a lot of cars here tonight, but you know, if the weather holds out and the track's okay, we'll give it our best shot.
Yeah, we were sort of hoping for a better, we were really hoping for a lot better result, but you know, we really struggled with the car. It was just way too tight all night, and you know, it wasn't probably till the feature race that I really found out what was going on. So you know, just a heap of different suspension things that we were playing with, and well, not playing with, but just sort of caught us out. But we're on top of our game, and I'd like to, you know, really try and make amends of that tonight, you know, and you know, get a good result tonight. It'd really help our way along.
Yeah, we were just happy to survive it, I suppose. Had a bit of drama at the end there, but I guess we're coming away with a few points and just barely hanging on the second. So trying to get our best result we can every night, and hopefully the points will take care of themselves. So yeah, we're just looking for a bit better result than we've had so far tonight. It's going to be pretty tough, a lot of cars here, and a lot of good local guys, so but we'll just do what we can do.
Tyre Power Parramatta City Raceway provides some of the toughest racing week in, week out. And with a field of hard-charging locals locked and loaded, the championship contenders may find their position in the A-Main under serious threat.
Parramatta's always been known to be a real wide and racy track, but you know, with the rain today, I don't see really that's going to happen. I think it's going to be really follow the lead of one groove track. So as a driver's standpoint, yeah, you want to race, but you know, Mother Nature had its own way, and we just have to see what we get. Car count really don't bother us. I mean, we always like the competition, and you know, it makes for real good lap traffic through the heat races, and sometimes in the feature if the track gets racy enough. So you know, you're going to compete against the same guys come the checkered flag of the feature, and you know, you're going to be against Hatno and Max and you know, Madsen. So you know, it's always fun to come to a place where they got a lot of good locals, and I don't even know who the. Yeah, I know Satori runs good around here, so I'm sure he'll be up front tonight, and you know, looking forward to the challenge.
Oh, yeah, we're going to do our best. You know, the World Series hasn't been at Parramatta for a few years, and you know, I'd like to come away with a victory, but being realistic, it's going to be a tough racetrack here tonight. It's been a bit wet, so I'm just hoping the track broadens out a little bit and brings me my high line.
Yeah, I don't know, like everyone said, you're sort of going back to your home track, but Max and Brooke and Fari and that, they've all been brought up on this track, so I don't know, I think Parramatta's a little bit like the MCG. It's a fairly neutral, very neutral venue. So many people come here and race, and it's a pretty well a user-friendly venue, and everyone seems to get around here pretty good.
Time to qualify, and big drama right from the outset. James Thompson gives it everything he's got, gets out of shape, and tears up the 22 car big time. James fine. Same can't be said about the car. Ian Madsen ran hard and placed 8th fastest. Craig Brady in the Renquip 16 also made the top 10, along with Grant Tunks in the Tricorp 54. Marty Perovich continued his good form, the Network Painting 17 car setting 5th fastest time. Matthew Thomas found the track very difficult to master. While the top 4 spots in order, Queenslander Daniel Morton finishing 4th in the 78 car, 3rd going to Gary Brazier in the Orange 95, 2nd quick Jason Johnson from Louisiana in the Superlock number 5, and quick time at Parramatta of 11.635 seconds to Robbie Farr in the East Coast Pipeline number 7. Disappointing times turned in by Max Dumsney, who could only manage 28th spot, and national champ Brooke Tatnall, who came in 31st. We're headed towards the 30-lap main event, but on the way through, let's see the action and traction from the heats and dashes. Time has arrived for round 6 of the 21st Wanless World Series Sprintcars. Parramatta City Raceway, and Gary Brazier has the pole position. Local Marty Perovich also on the front row. Robbie Farr and Daniel Morton in row number 2. A sprinkling of local drivers mixing it with those on the tour of World Series. Loadsman's there, David Muir, Peter Thorley, and up the back, Grant Anderson. We're ready to go racing to turn number 1.
And it's Lightning McBrazier. Gary Brazier takes the lead off the start. Marty Perovich there in 2nd. Robbie Farr challenges him down the back chute. An electrifying start to this one. Max Dumsney up on the high groove, running the big cushion that's formed here at TPCR tonight. And Brooke Tatnall not all that far behind him after qualifying poorly and starting out of 17.
Max Dumsney to the back straight away. The last time this series passed by Parramatta was December 2002, when American Darren Pittman scored victory over Kerry Madsen.
I must say, Steve, Tony Hopping and the crew have done a very good job in bringing this track in. It's wide, it's multi-lane. It's really what we've come to expect here at TPCR, where the local posse is oh so strong. And Trevor Green, of course, he is a man who has won 3 track championships at this venue, loves the track and knows it very well.
Whoever beats Gary Brazier tonight will know he's been in a race. He is running so hard. So too is the local Marty Perovich and Ian Madsen. Kerry's younger brother is doing well. Robbie Farr's in the thick of it. And so too is the American Jason Johnson.
See Brazier and the team exhibiting the Lightning McQueen paint job here tonight, hence the nickname we mentioned at the outset, Lightning McBrazier. But how about this battle for 2nd? And there's a bit of a shot of the man in 4th position, who actually got his arm restraints caught on the steering wheel earlier on tonight, and that resulted in a spin going through turns 1 and 2. Marty Perovich and Robbie Farr, they are going at it, hammer and tongs for 2nd and 3rd. Muscles Perovich on the bottom. He's picked up 2nd. Robbie will be trying to fight back on the top side.
There's Robbie Farr looking for the cushion on the outside, 34 years of age. Cut his teeth racing sprint cars at this circuit. He's a former national speed car as well as sprint car champion, but it's not working too well for him at the moment.
The brand new team for Barry Waldron and East Coast Pipelines, Nick Speed has put it together so that J&J, Shazzy and Robbie and Nick really starting to gel. We see Johnson now looking on the top. And Ian Madsen in the 35 car. He's borrowed a race car of his brother Kerry to have a crack here tonight, and he is starting to come on very strong towards the middle stages of this A-main.
Gary Brazier, 4 times national champion and winner of just about anything not nailed down over his illustrious and controversial career, is determined to come home first in this round number 6 of Wanderers World Series in its 21st year.
We had Tatnall night at Speedway City. Perhaps this is Brazier night at TPCR. His father, Steve, of course, former 2-time Australian sprint car champion, is here crew chiefing for Gary tonight. Look at that clay flying as he smacked the cushion. His family, of course, his wife and 2 children, Geordie and Erin, here cheering on their dad as he comes up to some back markers. We watch him now off turn number 2. Shirley and Anderson will be the next 2 that he goes after. Just working the high side of this racetrack so well here tonight. He's done it since he was about 16 years of age, and he thrives on these track conditions.
Talking to him in the pits earlier, John Cobby, and I said, you are one of the most naturally gifted drivers the sport has seen. He agrees and said he's been through the school of hard knocks. He knows when to back out so you don't destroy a car, and he is one of the safest drivers on the circuit. Whenever he's out there, he's a threat to win.
He certainly is, especially when everything's right, and when he's got his father in his corner, can many times be almost unbeatable, as we watch Jason Johnson, the Superlock man of steel. And there's Robbie Farr in car 7, just ahead of him. Farry trying desperately to hang on to a top 3 finish, because consistency is really what it's all about to win this Wanderers Wastecorp World Series Championship. And look at Madsen. He slipped through on the inside of Johnson. Johnson tries to come back at him, but the mini madman on fire.
Yes, Ian Madsen has had a top season. He's still to win his first A-main event, but he's filled so many 2nd and 3rd podium places. He is really maturing very well, and racing in America hasn't hurt him either.
Brooke Tatnall in car number 1 works the top side of the speedway. Trevor Green's on the bottom. That just backs up what we were saying about multi-lane racetracks, and Brooke really not having the amount of success that he would have been hoping for on his return to Parramatta tonight.
Getting the outside rear Hoosier hanging on, and here comes Max Dumsty in car number 5, the Valvoline Express, to the main straight, trying to get up there in the placings.
He's starting to reel in Jason Johnson. You see him just being careful not to whack that cushion too hard, because as we saw earlier on tonight, when James McFadden hit the cushion, he flipped in a flash. Here comes Max. Full noise down the main chute. Can he cut a pass on Johnson? Johnson to the bottom. Max on the cushion. He just bangs it. Oh, he hits it again. Wild stuff from Mr. Valvoline.
That's unsettled the car. Hasn't lost too much momentum, though. Comes back to the main straight. Max always comes on strong towards the latter half of any main event.
Yeah, he's very fit, and Mouse Green, his crew chief, oh, look at the wheelie. Generally gives Max a race car that always comes on strong over the final 10. Gee, this is a battle of epic proportions, but back at the front, Gary Brazier and the John and Vicky Weatherall-owned Motorguard Maxim. He is absolutely smoking this field. High, low, mid-track, it doesn't matter. It's almost as if the car's on rails.
Off the circuit and in trouble. We'll have a caution situation.
Blingy Muir in the 18, the young Queensland resident for Capalaba Wreckers.
This gives the chance for a breather, drivers and spectators, and regroups them. Let's see how they'll line up. So as we get set to go once more, Marty Perovic is stuck like super glue to our 4 times national champion Brazier. We're off and running to turn number 1, and as you can see, Robbie Farr now stakes a claim for better up the podium, at least a second as he chases out after Brazier. Perovic has done a good job. The Beverlite cars coming through towards the tail of the field, along with Brooke Tatnall in Australia 1 and Trevor Green in the ADRAT number 11.
There's a lot of skill and a lot of finesse required when there's a heavy cushion such as we've got here tonight at TPCR. Let's watch Ian Madsen. Just rode it beautifully there, and look at the speed that he gained on Robbie Farr in the process. And if you can run that top, you've got momentum on your side. He's going to drive around the outside of Robbie Farr. He cuts the pass. Farr now trying to fight back.
You could tell Farr wasn't exactly thrilled by that to be passed, but again up front it's Brazier heading this parade as we go to the back straight once more. Perovic is holding on very, very strongly. Max is making the best of what he can with a difficult situation tonight, and Robbie Farr at least holding on to third.
Yeah, Max didn't qualify well tonight, was chasing his tail, managed to finish up the front of both of his heats to at least come through the B main. And here's a shot of Dan Morton working hard in the 78 entry, the Mackay resident, the executive director of the Morvale Group. He's put a massive effort into Wanless World Series this season. Trevor Green and Brooke Tatnall still going at it for the minors.
There's your winner. Gary Brazier takes out round number 6 at Tyre Power from Marty Perovic and Ian Madsen, 2 local drivers, very proud of them. Robbie Farr, Jason Johnson, then comes Dumsney Tunks and young Ian Loudon driving for Beverlite.
It's great to be back in victory lane. Great to be back at Parramatta or Tyre Power Parramatta City Raceway. Me and my dad, we really enjoy this place. He knows what to do, and I've done plenty of laps around here. John and Vicky Weatherall once again for giving me this opportunity to race a good race car. Chris and John, they're working real hard, and I really couldn't have won this race without my dad coming down. He definitely gives me another 10% confidence just by sitting in that race car with him in the pits. But I'd really like to dedicate this race to Peter Dobson. He was a good young kid that just loved the sport, whether it would be go-karts or sprint car racing. He tried to help out anyone he could, and I grew up with him when I was a little boy, and he came to the race shed, and he might have got into trouble a few times off my old man for touching things, but he was a great young bloke, and we're all going to miss him.
Congratulations, pal. It's a huge effort for you to come out with a brand new race car and run top 2 tonight. You must feel on top of the world.
Yeah, it's a pretty good feeling, I've got to thank my old man, my crew, Samo. When we built this car, we busted our butts, and it's paying off. To run second here in the Wanless World Series is just amazing for me. And starting next to Brazier, I seen him in the lap traffic, and I thought, I hope he hops that cushion because I'm going to get him. But he drove a good race, and congratulations to him.
It was an awesome race out there. The track was beautiful, and it was just a really fun race. Got to thank Ivan Walker from Walker Racing for thrashing to get the motor ready for this week. Got to thank my dad without him I wouldn't be up here. So I got to thank my crew, Andrew, Michael, and Clinton. They've worked pretty hard and they deserve this. And also like to thank Bob Tunks for lending me some parts to get here tonight as well, and John Cooley as well.
And now to the points after round 6 of Wanless World Series Sprintcars. Brooke Tatnall still on top on 856. Max is second, Robbie third, Trevor Green fourth, with Murky rounding out the 5.
Coming up after the break, we look back on the final round of the 2006 Australian Superbike Championship from Sydney Motorsport Park.